Hi. Merry Christmas. One of my favorite things about Christmas back home, I'm from Wisconsin, was playing Christmas carols at the piano and having family and friends sing along. So my Wisconsin family couldn't be here with me today. Will you be my family for today? Yeah, let's be each other's family and sing. Let's sing and get in the Christmas spirit. Grab a hymnal. There are a couple more up here. You're going to have to share, some of you, because we didn't have enough for everybody, but come find a hymnal if you need one, or look over somebody's shoulders, and let's open to number 280, Joy to the World, and let's sing together. Why don't we stand? Everybody stand up to number 280. Turn to page 267. We're not done yet. We're just getting started.
Certain or shepherds in
tonight. I saw Esther walk in. Esther, would you be willing to sign silently? You can look over my shoulder. From your heart. Christ is born through me today. Say it with me. Christ is born through me today. We've said that many times, right? I remember my first New Thought Christmas was in the year 2000 at Unity in Chicago. That was my first Unity Christmas service. And Reverend Ed Townley said that then, and we've said it every Christmas since, right? Christ is born through me today. What makes it different this year? What makes it different? Well, we made it through the threshold, right? We didn't, the end of the world did not happen. But I'm guessing you, like me, are feeling there really is a shift underfoot. Who's feeling that? Like there really is a shift happening. Okay. If you're not, that's okay too. But a lot of us are feeling it. And, you know, I remember I've been hearing about the end time since I was 8 years old. And how it came to me, the version of it that came to me was through my mother, who had been really disappointed in her Catholic God, I will call it that, that was her description of it, her Catholic God that did not have answers about why my brother was profoundly mentally handicapped. She was angry about it. She was sad about it. She was angry. She was depressed. She didn't understand it, why this child was born with, these difficulties. And so she was led to metaphysical teachings at that time, which gave her comfort. So she was led to teachings about reincarnation and the writings of Jean Dixon and Edgar Cayce, and they were saying, there's going to be end times. So I remember being 8 years old, and she's tucking me in bed, and she's like, Laura, and I guess I was precocious because I was the oldest child, so she thought I was a friend, I'm sure. Laura, there are going to be tidal waves with really, 40 feet waves, she's telling me these things, and I'm like, really, Mom? Really? Really? But, look what's happened. And it seems to keep happening and happening and happening. We just had Sandy hit the shores of New York. Big tidal waves, man. Coney Island in the water. Whoa. That's some old structures coming down. Yeah? Old structures coming down, and we get to see that symbolism again and again. And so, how do we navigate through this? Especially at Christmas time. It's supposed to be happy and joyous, right? Well, I feel like we can tap into that faith we have that truly all is well, that there is something major afoot, that we do have to go through deconstruction in order to have reconstruction and rebirth, and feel like that's okay. Christ is reborn through me today. Say it with me. Christ is reborn through me today. I feel like we are all being called to live more and more and more in our truth, and more and more and more in our heart and our love. And to show up in whatever situations we show up day to day, shining that. And being in that truth and love and shining it brightly, I believe, will attract some others to say, oh, wow, what's she got? I kind of want what she's got, or he's got. Or, wow, that might be the way to go. Now, I have an example that I want to share with you, and then I want to invite you a little later in the service I'm going to invite you to come up here, some of you, and share what you may have observed in somebody else as an example of them shining that kind of truth and love in the world. So be thinking about that. Let something surface for you that you might share. Because I think if we can get a picture of it together and envision what it really looks like, anchored in some real-life examples, then we can leave here today with those real-life examples and go, oh yeah, I can do more of that. I can do more of that. So I want to give you an example from my life recently. So I recently was in a situation where I was seeing somebody, a gentleman, and it turned out, after about a month and a half into this relationship, that what surfaced was he had been lying to me about a lot of things. And what also surfaced was that I believe he has a substance abuse issue, okay? A serious one. And with that substance abuse comes the lying and manipulation and a whole host of behaviors. And I had met this man's children and found them to be absolutely delightful and innocent creatures, just still very happy children. And I knew that his ex-wife, his first wife, was going through a hearing procedure where she wanted him to be put through inpatient rehab before he would have further visitation with his children, because she too was concerned about his behaviors when he was abusing substances. And I thought to myself, oh my God, do I even get involved in this? What do I do in this? And I went into prayer with this. And now I come from a family of, my father went through inpatient rehab for alcohol when I was 13. And when he got out, my mother decided that he was happier and a more fun person to be around when he was drinking. And so, in essence, she's enabled him to drink all these years. They've been enabling each other to overdrink all these years. And now he's been a high-functioning, what I would call a high-functioning alcoholic, but I do believe he's an alcoholic. And that created some dynamics in our family. Anybody who knows that kind of dynamic of don't talk about it, don't tell your feelings about things, and it led to some problems in the family. So I'm sitting with this situation in my present life going, do I just sit by and be complacent and don't do anything? Or do I do something to help those children? Because as a child of an alcoholic, I can imagine what's going to happen for them down the road, should he continue on this path. What do I do? Do I get in the middle of this family thing? Or is it not my business and I just walk away? Well, I listened to my inner guidance. I went into prayer about it, and then the next step I was told to take was to call the ex-wife and just talk to her and just see what the vibe was, see what was going on, see what, And 2 hours later, 2 hours of conversation later, with this very kind, open-hearted woman who's very faith-based herself, she asked me if I would testify. And I told her I had to think about it. And I agreed to talk to her lawyer and say, am I even a good witness? Is this even going to make a difference, or am I just putting myself out there for nothing? And will he retaliate? And what's going to happen? And I went into fear about it, and I looked at the fear. And long story short, I ended up testifying. And it was scary. I was afraid, actually. I was sitting on the stand, and I was kind of shaking. And this gentleman was representing himself, and so he got to cross-examine me, and that was not fun. And I had written this gentleman a letter. You'll understand this. I wrote him a letter, and the title of the letter was, I love you always, can we talk? And in the letter, I talked about the agape love I still felt for him, that my fear and anger and betrayal and all those things had given way to compassion, and I really understood his situation because I had come from an addictive family, blah, blah, blah. And I really hoped that we could meet, but he would have to be 100% sober. And this, And my intention with this letter, my good intention, was to try to show him that he is a lovable being, that I can still love him even though I don't like the behaviors that are destructive, and to try to break through his denial, a little chink in the denial, So this letter got brought out in court, and I had given the letter to the lawyer of this woman, so we knew it was probably going to come out in court. And of course, on the surface, it looks like a romantic letter, I love you always, blah, blah, blah. So then it looked like I was the jilted lover, so to speak. And so then I'm like, well, should I have even done this? Should I have even written that letter? That just got messed up, And then my answer came, no, you are expressing love. You are expressing agape, Christ-like love for this person who had done some nasty things. And that can never be wrong. Even if in the court system it got messed up and I didn't have the wherewithal in the moment to explain it further to the judge because I got a little flustered about it, even though I still feel like I did the right thing. And the two women that are involved in this custody thing, the ex-wife and actually another woman, came up to me and they were crying. And they said, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being courageous and doing this. And you made a difference. Even though the ruling wasn't exactly the ruling we were hoping for, showing up and stating the truth in the face of what was destructive to people was what was called for. Now, I share this story because, A, I had to go through some fears. B, your choice might not be the same choice I made. You may have chosen a different route to take, which is fine. But I want to invite everybody in this room, as we move forward, to go inside, listen to that inner guidance, and then make the courageous choice that feels right. You know, it feels right based in this love of humanity that is welling up in us more and more and more each day. What is going to serve humanity and our community, right? What is going to serve the families and the children? And don't just walk away. The lawyer said to me, you don't know how many people I talk to, potential witnesses who say, I just don't want to get involved. He said, way, way, way more, 10 to 1 at least, don't want to get involved. I'm tired of a complacent society. Are you? Are you tired of it? I don't want to be part of a complacent society anymore. So let's hold that thought. Put that thought in your heart. Let it incubate. And we're going to sing a few more songs to feel that heart energy again. And then we're going to do some community sharing after that. So let's open this hymnals to 268 and sing What Child Is This? What child is this who laid to rest on Mary's lap is sleeping, whom angels greet with anthems sweet, while shepherds watch our keeping. This is Christ the King, whom shepherds guard and angels sing. Haste to bring him, Lord, the babe, the Son of Mary. 272. It came upon the midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels bending near the earth to touch their harps of gold. Peace on the earth, goodwill to men, from heaven, so gracious King. The world is solemn, still listening to hear the angels sing. Still through the golden skies they come, with peaceful wings unfurled, and still their heavenly music fills o'er all the weary world. It's sad and lonely place, they bend on hovering wing, and ever o'er its rattle sounds the blessed angels sing. Let's do the first verse again. It came upon the midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from what a choir. Terrific. Let's do one more. 279. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Angels, we have heard the high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Shepherds, why this jubilee? Why your joyous strains prolong? What the gladsome tidings be, which inspire your heavenly song? Come to Bethlehem and see Him whose birth the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee, Christ the Lord, the newborn King. I saw a report that the father of one of the young children that transitioned in that accident, or not accident, in that event out in Connecticut a week or two ago, that the father made a statement that went out into the press saying that he sent his love and blessings to the family of the gunman, that he could only imagine the pain and the hurt that they were going through. And to me, that was a really authentic gesture of that agape love, to make that statement at all, so close to when the event happened, after you've lost a little daughter. It takes a lot of fortitude and that inner love and the willingness to shine it. And I'm guessing that example he showed to the whole world created a beautiful ripple effect. And we can't know how deep or how far that ripple is going to travel. But if we can cling to that kind of gift amidst the tragedy, the human tragedy that we all are grieving, that kind of gift is what's going to help us shift. And so now I want to invite you, if you have anything to share with the congregation, of something you've witnessed like that. Something you've witnessed recently. Hold on, great, 1 second. Recently or not recently, that exemplifies that kind of love that we can show moving forward into this new world we're all birthing. Now, I just want one caveat as we do this, because we've done sharings before, and sometimes they devolve into promoting your latest project kind of things. This is not the time for that. Okay? This is the time to really be a minister and help all of us see the possibility for who we can be as Christ incarnate. Okay? So with that, I invite people to share. If you have something you want to share, please come up. And tell us your name. Tell us your name.
My name's Zelma. I have a grandson who, not too long ago, was diagnosed as schizophrenic. He ended up being put in an insane asylum. And he was there for 6 months. And then he was released to a halfway house. And that was not too long ago, about maybe 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. My whole family, both sides, came down and we rented a house and were there to be able to connect with him. And I did something that I felt very, very bad. He came in, he just turned 21 the day before, excited that he was smoking. And I freaked out. And
That he was smoking?
he was smoking. And I started in on him about it, what was wrong with it. And I know I alienated him. And my son did the same thing. And afterwards, I felt such remorse for that. And he didn't spend much time with us during that trip. And I knew I had to apologize to him because I knew he's 21. And the thoughts went through me of what did I do when I was 21, you know, and shit. Who was I to talk about smoking? But I couldn't make that call because I was afraid I couldn't reach him. And I avoided it. Well, I've lately been in the Peace Choir, and at the Peace Choir, a week ago Friday, we went to a prison and sang. This prison was for youth behind bars who many would never come out and see daylight again. And there was something about that experience that jolted me. And what happened in my mind was, there, but for the grace of God, goes my grandson. Thank God he didn't go that route. And after that, I knew I had to call my grandson. And 2 days later, I did. Oh, and when I did, I apologized about the smoking. He said, I never heard it, which I know that's what he does to, not take the stuff on. And then I went further and I go, Neil, I want you to know that you saved my life. When you came down to California, you came on the day that my sweetheart died. And a week later, you came and stayed with me and went to school. I was lost when my sweetheart died. And you gave me a reason to live. And I thank you for that. And when you finished school and graduated and came back home and you got sick, I came up when things got bad because I loved you. And again, I made a new life for myself up here because of you having brought me up here. And for that, I thank you too. And here's what my grandson said to me. He said, Grandma, you don't have any idea how much I love you. He said, I love you as much as you love me. He said, when I came to Berkeley to be with you, I didn't have a life before that. You gave me a life. And for that, I'll always be thankful to you. So it pays to speak from the heart because we both were healed from that, I know.
beautiful story. Being brave and courageous to share from your heart and express that feeling, even to family who should know it, right? To express that and have it come back. Very healing. Thank you. Anybody else? Jean.
My tall sister.
I have two things I want to share, and they're kind of connected. The first is I want you all to know how brave and compassionate and decent this woman is for going and doing that testimony on behalf of those children and speaking from her heart and trying to keep it as clean as possible. I've had a number of interactions with this man in more of an employer role, and two of them frightened me significantly. So I'm hard to frighten. And I was on the receiving end of some craziness. So thank you, Laura, and you did the right thing. You did the right thing because he's in complete denial about how he behaves. Total denial. And speaking of how men behave, I want to share with you all and introduce my beloved James Lawrence Fritz. Would you stand up, sweetheart? If we're up here to testify about true love, well, I'm here to testify that after 3 decades of not the world's greatest love relationships and men who lie to me and hidden agendas and things like that, I'm in month 5 of having the most incredible, pure love that doesn't waver, beam at me constantly. The man lives for doing sweet things and sharing his heart, and perfection exists. It takes God a long time to make a perfect man, but perfection exists. So, woohoo, ladies. It's possible. Thank you.
I love how the beloved shows up in different forms, in a partnership like that. Beautiful. In a grandson-grandmother relationship. All sorts of configurations. The beloved shows up. Who else would like to share? Yes, Kathy Mary.
Hi, I'm Kathy Mary, and as Laura was sharing her story, I just saw the word courage written over her head, or it came up, courage, and that inspired me to speak about someone who I think is, well, the word courage sent me to think about her. Her name is Amma. She's the Divine Mother. Many of you may know her. She's a spiritual teacher and leader, and brings through the Holy Mother, the Divine Feminine. And recently I heard a reading, which is she's inspired millions of people to help other people. Her basic teachings are love and serve. And but the one thing I want to say is at the beginning of this year, 2012, she issued a New Year's Day prayer statement about how she saw 2012 being. And she said that she doesn't see the end of the world coming. She does see a continuation of what she calls dark clouds, difficult times. And she feels, as a mother, all the suffering and pain. And she has, her ego isn't there anymore, her personal ego, and she is just living her whole life extending herself as a mother to help humanity. But in that statement of that day. It was like a message to what she calls her children, those that accept her as mother, which I do. And she said there's stuff coming and it's going to keep going on. And her prayer, her request for her children for this year and onward is that we have strength, courage, and be happy. So her prayer in Hindu that we repeat many times is Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings in all the worlds be happy. So I ask us to have courage, which she has had. And she's the example to me of the ultimate person who can take a very difficult situation, which her life story was, and be courageous and just move through it to extend yourself for all humanity.
That's a beautiful prayer. Would you say it again? And I'd like us to say it three times
yeah.
afterwards. So tell us again.
You start with Om. Om Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. We end with Om Shanti, 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 which is peace. Thank you.
In the translation, one more time, please.
May all beings in all the worlds be happy.
Let's say that together.
May all beings in all the worlds be happy.
Thank you. Anybody else? Walter, come on.
Thank you. This was a long time ago. I was out at the beach in San Francisco area. I fell asleep, and when I woke up, there was a young man with a gun, and I was in such fear. I thought, my God, what can I do? What can I say? And what came out of my mouth, I couldn't believe it. I simply said, moment of silence, I said, I'm shaking. I love you. And with that, he put his gun down, and he said, I didn't really want to hurt anybody, but I need money for food. And so I went to my little folks' farm, and I started to shake. I had that needed to be way then. But I love that story. I love you. That was huge for me. And I couldn't believe I said that. And that came from a very deep space inside of my heart. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Walter. What a beautiful example that is. Thank you. We have time for one more? Oh my, we have several. Maybe we have time for several more. Come on up. Tell us your name.
I'm Lynn. In 1863, in the American Civil War, General Stonewall Jackson lay dying, and his very last words were, "Let us cross the river." Sorry. And rest in the shade of the trees.
Let's cross the river and rest in the shade of the trees. Beautiful.
Okay. My name is Blair Lockett, and the story that came to my mind was my junior year in college. I did a study abroad in Japan, and I arrived in Tokyo and didn't know how to exchange the currency or anything. My flight was late, and my program forgot me, sort of, because I was so late, and I think it was like 2 a.m. or something crazy, and I didn't have enough money, or I didn't have the right exchange, didn't know where to go. Tokyo, cheapest place I think I found was equivalent to $200 a night or something like that. And so anyhow, there was this really amazing woman, and she came up to me. She's like, "Oh, my daughter, I just sent my daughter to Australia for a study abroad. Just come home with me. I'll feed you, and I'll take you to your tour the next day." And I was like, okay. So she brought me home, and she fed me, and she knew perfect English. It was wonderful because she'd been helping her daughter and learning English also. And then she took me to the tour the next day, and it was so wonderful. And I kept in touch with her. And then at the end of the tour, she took me on 2 weeks vacation, sort of around Japan. Wow. It was incredible. It was such a blessing, and I was just so thankful for that experience. And it was really touching to have a complete stranger come up to me and was like, "Come with me," and I just felt it in my heart, like, okay. So that was very
What a beautiful gift you received, and it was like perfect timing.
Yeah.
Because the universe had created a little vacuum of her daughter being gone.
Yeah.
And you just waltzed in, and I bet you were a blessing to her too.
It was great.
Yeah, that's a beautiful gift. Thank you. What can we give and create joy? Arlene, did Pamela leave? Okay, Pamela, get ready to come up. I saw you, sweetie. But we'll hear from Arlene first.
I was just moved by Blair's story. And I'm thinking about times in my life when I have been opening to having things happen that were positive. And I just want to share with you that I believe that when you come from that place of expecting good, that's what you will receive. And when you are in fear and are expecting the worst, guess what the universe gives you? So it's up to you. You can decide what it is you want the universe to give you.
Thank you, Arlene. And we can set that intention. A great time to set those intentions are when you're either dozing off to sleep or just waking up. We're in that in-between space, sort of here and sort of not. It's a great time to set the intention of, I'm open to the good, I'm open to being good, I'm open to loving today, show me how I can love more, show me how I can give more. All those positive intentions are great. Come on up, Miss Pamela Joy.
She already told you my name.
Angel Pamela Joy.
So this is a story about how sometimes how little it takes, although it did take me a little bit of courage. Normally in airports I find a place that's out of the way and sit away from people, and this airport was very, very crowded, and the only seat was next to a young woman who was sitting next to a stroller, and I was with my daughter who was 20 at the time. And as we looked at this young woman, it became apparent why nobody was sitting next to her, because she was acting in an obvious abusive way to this child who was pre-verbal, so maybe around a year, a little over a year, and he was thirsty, and she kept pushing him away and speaking sharply to him and not giving him the water that he wanted, and everybody was looking the other way and not doing anything. And Crystal and I looked at each other, and I went and sat next to this young woman, and Crystal went and sat on the floor next to the baby carriage and the baby. And I just started speaking very quietly to her and asking if she was okay and if she needed help. And I told her that I had an interesting bottle of smells. I had Peace and Calming essential oil with me, and that I thought maybe she was feeling a little stressed in the airport, and would she like to smell some from this bottle? And she was willing to do that, and then I had a couple more. And so while I was talking to her, Crystal got the water and gave the baby some water and was playing with it, the baby. And I asked her more and more questions, and it became apparent as I talked to her that she'd had a very hard background, and she was probably borderline
Borderline
questionable
personality disorder,
Yeah,
you mean?
yeah.
Okay.
And so we just continued being with her until her plane left, and just giving her and the baby positive attention and positive feedback, and walked her to where she had to go to the airplane. And I don't know in the long run whether it made a difference to that baby. I worried about that. But in the moment, it made a difference, and it felt really good to take the courage and the time to do that.
You know what I love about that example, Pamela, is you came from a place of support and compassion for her, rather than scolding her or, what are you doing? Why are you doing that to your child? You know, you came from a place of assuming that she was going through something tough, and could you help her? That's beautiful. I'm sure you shifted that energy that day. Plus, we got that baby hydrated. Nice, beautiful.
I mean, for me, it's like there's so many moments in our lives where we can just walk by, and that it can make a difference. Just that little bit of attention can make a difference.
Thank you for those beautiful stories. So that gives us a vision, something to hold on to as we leave today, of what we can do more and more and more of. Isn't it exciting? I'm so excited we get to be these stewards of love in the world. I want to anchor this with a prayer. Richard, there you are. We can have a little music underneath, please. So I invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that. Get grounded in your seat. Put your feet on the floor. Feel the earth underneath your feet. Take a breath in and sigh it out. What child is this? Oh, Mother, Father, God, what child is this you are calling me to be? What new being, fresh, innocent, full of potential, full of divinity, what child are you calling me to be in the world? How are you calling me to serve? Be the Christ. Help me, help me, help me see each day, each moment, how I can show up and be courageous and be loving and demonstrate that to the world in ways that make a difference, whether I know what that difference is or not. Because I know we can feel that difference when we're in that space of love and giving. We feel it, and the people around us feel it. And any recipients of our gifts feel that difference. And we know that love is not finite. We have no reason to fear giving more and more and more love, because it's just generative. The more we give, the more there is to share. We have nothing to fear to be love. Nothing to fear. And we trust in these times, these tumultuous times we're in, we trust that we are here to be your hands and feet and eyes and actors, action givers on this planet, on this plane that we are playing in at this time. And as we move our feet and share with our hands, we also know that we are connected deeply, infinitely, always to you, to the power that gives us life, to that one source that is running through everything, that source that is joy and love and peace and all things good. And so each day we source ourselves from you, Mother, Father, God. We unify with that force, and we are sure that when we come from that place, only good can come when we express that love. I give great thanks for being here today with my brothers and sisters in this room. And I know that we are here to remind each other of who we are and why we're here. So this Christmas time, this precious, precious Christmas time, please be with us consciously. Let us be conscious of you as we move through our days. And let us remember we are the Christ. Amen. Beautiful. Donna, would you lead us in our giving segment? And we are going to... Oh, little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee light above thy deep and dreamless sleep. The silent stars go by, yet in thy dark street shineth the everlasting light. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. For Christ is born of Mary and gathered all above. While mortals sleep, the angels keep their watch of wondering love. Oh, morning stars together proclaim the holy birth, and praises sing to God the King, and peace to men on earth. Now we're going to finish with the third verse. Really feel these lyrics in your heart, given all we've talked about today. Here we go. How silently, the wondrous gift is given. So God imparts to human hearts the blessings of His heaven. No ear may hear His coming, but in this world of sin, where meek souls will receive Him, the dear Christ enters in. Beautiful. I have a gift for you. I'd like to sing a song for you. Just as my gift to you this season. And then we're going to sing one more to close out today. Oh, we want to bless the offering first? Let's do that.
Okay.